Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's go ahead and take a look at today's lesson objective. So today we will reason about and explain arithmetic patterns using the units of 0 and 1 as they relate to multiplication and division. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this over here. Now over here I have one circle. This circle is going to represent one group. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and figure out what would happen if I take one group. So I'm going to do 1. If I have one group, and I'm going to multiply this by some number. We're going to go ahead and represent this number by n. What is that going to equal? So I have one group. I'm going to go ahead and put one piece, one dot in my group. So I have one group of 1, that's going to equal 1. Now, what if I have 2? So now I have one group of 2. So now I have 2 dots total. What about if I have 4? So if I have one group of 4, 1 times 4, that's going to give me 4. So I'm starting to notice a pattern here. It looks like whenever I have n, my number, the answer, the product is the same. So I can reason, see, so if I had 1 times 2, that's going to equal 2. Those are the same. 1 times 4 is equal 4. So if I multiply 1 times any number, that's going to equal that number. Interesting. Okay, now what about if I do the same thing with multiplication? So if I have some number, and I divide it into one group, that's going to equal what? So this is going to be my one group. So if I have 4, and I want to divide it into one group, I want to divide it into 4, or into 1, all of these are going to go in here, which is going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I have 4, divided by 1, that's also going to equal 4. Now, what if I want to do 3? 1, 2, 3. I want to divide it into one group. I only have one group to put all 3 of those pieces in, so I have 3 divided by one group. That's going to equal 3. What if I do 5? Oh, it looks like I'm going to put all 5 of those into that one group. So 5 divided by 1 is going to equal 5. So it seems that if I have some number and I divide it by 1, that is going to equal that number. We see that here. 4 divided by 1 is 4. 3 divided by 1 is 3. 5 divided by 1 is 5. So any number divided by 1 is going to equal that number. Okay, here I have a blank canvas here, but let's go ahead and say I have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 groups. I don't have anything in them. I have 0 in them. So I have 4 groups of 0. So how many do I have in total? I have 0. What if I have 5 groups? So if I have 5 times 0, that's going to give me 0, right? Because I don't have anything in my groups. So what about if I do 2 times 0? If I have 2 times 0, I have 2 groups, but I don't have anything in my groups. So I have a total of 0. So any number multiplied by 0 is going to give me 0. Now, what about if we do this with division? So if I have 0 groups, right, and I divide it by some number, how much is that going to give me? So if I have 0 groups of, let's say, 7, right? Let's say 0 divided by 7. Well, I don't have any groups to divide. So it doesn't matter that I have 7 groups. I still don't have any groups to divide into 7. So I'm going to have 0, because if I have 7, 5, 6, 7, and I don't have anything in those groups, then I have 0. What about if I do 8? If I have 0 groups divided by 8, that's still going to give me 0, right? Because I don't have any groups to divide. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Let's take a review of today's lesson objective. So today we reasoned about and explained the arithmetic patterns using units of 0 and 1 as they relate to multiplication and division. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this was a wonderful lesson for you. I really enjoyed going over this with you, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.